I don't care if I go 0 for 100 in the postseason. As long as we win every single game, it doesn't matter. The championship, the trophy, that's really all that matters. The personal stats have no impact on me at all. As long as I'm doing anything at all to help that team win, that's the most important thing to me.
It is two-time World Series champion Max Muncy joining us right now with, yes, the biggest smile coming off the parade and the whole deal. Max, congratulations, man. Awesome to have you on here soon after. How was everything, including your first parade?
Yeah, it was awesome. I still think I'm recovering a little bit from those couple of days, but it was everything I could have imagined it being. The city was unbelievable. You get on the buses, you turn into downtown, and then all of a sudden it's just people as far as you can possibly see. People sitting on top of stoplights, on top of buildings. It was just amazing.
Wait, does this one come with an asterisk too? Because you had to play the Yankees, and so that one deserves an asterisk after what Joe Kelly said, how it was a mismatch. I mean, the asterisk on the first one, now we put an asterisk on this one because who you had to play?
Yeah, Joe went a little heavy on that one, But no, it does not come with an asterisk. This is a real one. Come on now.
They both are real. Trust me. As someone that has been through it, lost one, if you get to hoist that trophy up, I don't care if it's short season, long season, it wasn't y'all's fault. You had to play a short season. So trust me, neither one of them deserves an asterisk. You guys won both of them fair and square.
Well, as I always tell people, my ring feels pretty real. So.
That's a good way to put it. Did you go to Vegas? Did you do anything after the parade?
No, I mean we hit the town pretty good, but no, we didn't go to Vegas. We just there's plenty to do here in LA. We took care of business that way.
Awesome.
Because there's nobody on the Dodgers that can afford like a private jet to take the whole team to LA. Right?
I had heard rumors at one
there's
point.
There's not, Freddie, Mookie, Max, Shohei, none of those guys could afford like a jet just to fly the whole team to Vegas.
Definitely not. Or the team, any of that.
Yeah.
But there is good.
I mean, it was a pretty long couple of days, because we won in New York. We partied a little bit there, but then we got on a plane that morning, flew back to LA, got to LA at 10 in the morning. It's Halloween, so I don't know if you know us Dodgers, we're kind of an older team, so we all have kids. We were all out there trick-or-treating. And then we were at the field the next day at 7 in the morning getting ready for the parade. So then you're talking about drinking from 7 in the morning till 2 in the morning the next night.
Hey, you earned it. I love that.
I want to know why you guys were on the Patriots plane. That was a big thing. Look, the Dodgers are on the Patriots plane. Why was this such a big deal?
So I don't actually know why it was the Patriots plane, but that was just a plane that was big enough to fit our traveling party. Because something that we had done different this year was the players traveled separate from their families. Every year that I had been here, we had always just taken one gigantic plane, and it was players, families, front office, everybody all flew on the same plane. And it was always a good time, but something that we decided to change this year was players were going to fly on their own plane. And so in order to make it as nice as possible, I guess somehow our ownership or our traveling guy got in contact with the Patriots on that plane, and we were able to use that one. I don't know where the connection was or how it happened, but that's why.
Obviously right now you're wearing the World Series hat. So yes, flying on separate planes worked. In the moment, did it create more headache? Was your wife and kids, were they able to get on their flights easily? Or was this something in the moment that you were like, wow, this is way better than having all the Louis Vuittons on the bird?
Well, so we chartered a plane for the families as well. So it's not like they were flying commercial. And so everyone was going to the same airport, getting, it was honestly as easy as could be without being on the same plane. And we left at different times. The whole thought process behind that was that the players could get to the hotel, get some sleep, and then the next day the families would come in, and that way, you're not having your kids up at 5, 6 in the morning and just chaos when you're getting into the hotel. You're talking about 300 people trying to grab their keys and get through the lobby and get their bags and everything. So that was the thought process behind that. Was we just wanted the players to get there, get their sleep, get their rest. That way we could have our workout the next day and not having to worry about anything else. We're focused solely on winning the championship, and I got to give every single family in this organization credit because they all bought into it with us. They all agreed with it. They didn't cause any fights or any havoc with it. I'm sure there was a lot of people that probably didn't agree with it, but they didn't raise any issues, and that allowed us to just focus on winning the championship.
Hey, we did this in 2005. The same thing when we won. We had our plane that left, and then so when we went to Houston we had an off day between 2 and 3. The families came either the next afternoon or I actually think we had the off day to ourselves where we could go in and work out. And then the families came in like the afternoon of the game and went straight. And then when we flew, when we fly back home, they actually we would take off. They would take off right behind us. So they kind of, we landed at the same time. But I thought this was a great idea because I was on planes where in the playoffs where you had like your family on the plane with you. And, you got, it's late a lot of times. You're trying to get some sleep and you got a kid crying. You got a wife trying to, get their kid to sleep, whatever it is. And everyone wants to have a good time. So listen, I'm in favor of this for only the playoffs. But then we had one problem, and I don't know if you guys had problems. Only fiancés were allowed to fly on the plane, so we had dudes getting fake engaged so that they could fly. Their girlfriend at the time could fly on the plane. They gave him he's like, we're engaged, so they gave her a fake ring so that she could fly on the family plane.
No, we didn't have any issues with that. It's if you were a significant other, and that included girlfriend, you were allowed on the plane. Obviously, it was use some judgment on it, but we didn't have any issues with that. And the other reason we did the 2 planes also was the players agreed that we wanted to travel after the game. That's something that we also had never done before. We always traveled on the off day. And so everyone basically agreed we wanted to travel after the game, get there and have the entire off day in that city. It would suck getting in late in the morning and, you're not getting a ton of sleep, but you're at least there in the city, able to do some stuff. And then, you get a full night's rest instead of spending an entire off day on a plane.
Max, we haven't spoken to you since Mookie got attacked by those 2 fans. So I wanted to get your take now that, it's all done. Even Mookie obviously commented. He didn't want to talk about it during, but then once you guys won, he said something how he felt like he's only wanted to fight 2 people in his life, and that was one group. So my question to you is, how do we spin this forward? What did you think about it? But then also, how do we spin this forward? Because I legitimately think it was a massive player safety issue that needs to send a message to all fans out there that it's not acceptable. So suspending them for 1 game is insane in my mind. It's got to be way more.
Yeah, John Heyman actually asked me. I think he was doing an article about it. First off, thankfully Mookie didn't get hurt. You're talking about your arm hanging over the wall like that. That's very easy to get hyperextended, snap something. So thankfully he didn't get hurt. But I said it should have been an instant lifetime ban from all MLB stadiums right there. You want to initiate that kind of contact, it should be an instant lifetime ban. You're not even allowed anywhere near any park ever again. I think if you're talking about those are the kind of consequences, it's going to eliminate some of that stuff. Instead of just saying, oh, he can't come to the next game, but he still gets his season tickets next year and, whatever. That's not really a consequence. Oh, you got to go spend a night in jail. It's not entirely like a huge consequence to some of these people. It's, but they're obviously rabid fans if they have season tickets and they're there and they had that idea in their head that they were going to do that. They're serious fans. And so if you're talking about you can't ever come to another baseball game ever again, that's going to put some serious doubt into people's heads whether or not they want to do something like that.
Totally. And we're going to go to Kike's comments now about Fat Joe. I don't really care what Kike said about Fat Joe, but for him to bring it up in y'all's parade, how much was it talked about? How much was the Ice Cube stuff, the Fat Joe stuff, all that within yourselves, within you guys throughout the entire series?
Well, I don't think too many guys knew that the Ice Cube thing was going to happen, and so when it did happen, we were all like, "Oh man, this is pretty sweet." And then Ice Cube killed it. It was unbelievable. He sounded so good. The whole stadium was vibing to it. You could hear it clearly. It was great. And then we get to New York, and out comes, I'm not going to call him Fat Joe because he ain't fat anymore, but out comes Joe, and you couldn't hear anything he was saying. You couldn't hear the lyrics. The music was kind of muddled. It just sounded terrible. And it even if it was pre-planned, like both those things planned together, it kind of felt like they were just trying to copy us and do something. And it was just kind of just, we felt right out of the gate, we felt good about the game just because of that whole debacle.
Okay, so you went to the parade. Kike slashed on Skinny Joe, right? Ice Cube crushed it. Dave Roberts did not crush it with his dancing. When the Ice Cube did his song at the parade, did you see him trying to dance? I mean, he looked like Elaine from Seinfeld.
Yeah, I think my wife showed me a couple clips. I love Doc, but I don't think I'm going to give him that one. That's should have just let him do his performance, then come on.
Yeah, for real. Seriously. They're like, you have to know your limits, right? He was a great manager. He's probably going to the Hall of Fame for managing baseball, but dancing, you should have just, that's it. I'm good.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Hey, I'll follow up on Doc with you, Max. So pressure's high when the team's always good and winning divisions and all of that, right? Do you feel like this lifts another weight per se off of Doc's shoulders, and how anyone that's been a hater about his game as a manager should, be silenced at this point? I think we've been pretty big on him, and even Booney and some of these other guys that have been managing successful teams for a while. But as I think we've said on this show, Ken Rosenthal said, like, he's a Hall of Fame manager.
He is.
Man, I hope it does. I hope it silences some of that because, I've always loved Doc, and I've always thought he's done a great job because he doesn't – the way he manages is so unique in that he's legitimately having conversations with everyone in that clubhouse, knowing exactly how they're feeling, knowing exactly what's going on behind the scenes. And that's how he's making his decisions. And I know some people will always say, well, why didn't you bring in this guy in this situation? Well, there's a reason why he didn't do it. Maybe he'd thrown a bunch that week, or maybe maybe his kid was sick at home, or maybe his wife wasn't feeling good and he's been, having to pick up the slack. And there are any number of reasons that Doc is making these decisions. And almost none of it is based on, analytics and all this other stuff that everyone says it is. But, when he gets asked after the game, Doc will never, ever say, that's why he made that decision. He takes it to the grave with him. And, he basically just wears all the heat when those decisions don't work out because of why he made them. And he's never making them based on something stupid. He's making it based on, having a conversation with that player that day, that week, leading up into that situation. And so, I've always thought he's done an unbelievable job, and I hopefully he can rest easy knowing that most likely no one's ever going to wear number 30 Dodger jersey ever again.
I love a great deal, but I'm not going to run sprints in the outfield just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. With Mint Mobile, it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan. Purchase and activation is super easy too.
To get started, go to mintmobile.com/territory. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/territory. That's mintmobile.com/territory. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/territory.
$45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on their first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
Walker Buehler comes out to close that game out. Something happens. He gives up a run. It's a tie ball game. Would you have looked over at Shohei and been like, Shohei, you got an inning for us? Because we are cashed right now. We don't have a lot left.
I mean, I think we were almost getting to that point. I don't know if you guys heard, I know Huddy, Daniel Hudson was warming up, and, he kind of told all of us afterwards he was pretty sure that he was going to blow out if he had to come into that game. He said his elbow was barking bad, and he grinded all year for us, and so that's one of those things where if we bring him in the game and he blows out, it's I don't know who we have left. So that might have been a moment where, hey, Show, you might have to do something pretty incredible right here and just throw one out for us, But thankfully, we didn't get to that situation.
Well, thank God for the fifth inning, right? In Game 5, were you sitting there just going, "What in the world is happening right now?" I've never seen so many. It was like craziness in a quick span too. I mean, it happened quick, right? I mean, Judge's drop fly ball, the error by Volpe, Cole not covering first base, Freddie's hit, Teoscar's hit. We were actually doing a watch party, and when Teoscar came up, I go, "Cole's going to hang a slider. He's going to hit a 3-run homer. It's going to be 6-5." And he hit the bottom of the wall, and I was so mad at him because it would have been one of the great calls of all time. But, I mean, that happened so quick. It was like, mistake, 5 runs, it's 5-5. And then you guys were like, here we go.
Yeah, the biggest thing to me, I had never played at Yankee Stadium before. That was actually my first time going there. The biggest thing to me, and I told all the guys this, was the energy in the stadium was very weird. It was almost like they were waiting for something like that to happen. They were waiting for the mess up to happen. And as soon as, it started happening, you could just feel that the stadium the energy got real weird in the stadium, and we kind of took that and just ran with it. And it was just, we knew we weren't going to lose that game at that point. I know they scored another run on us, but we were kind of just like, whatever, it doesn't matter. We're going to come back and win this game. And it was just, it's just hard to describe like how it felt on the field during that moment. Just everything shifting towards us. And it was kind of like, it was meant to be. Like, that's almost how it felt.
That's so crazy. And you can't even explain that kind of energy shift. Like, just you saying that is awesome just because you experienced it. One thing you didn't experience. Go ahead.
And I was going to say, just to clarify this, I'm not dogging on the Yankee fans, because the previous 2 games, the Yankee fans were great. They were unbelievable. It was not like that. But it was just like Game 5. I don't know, for whatever reason, it just felt like the whole stadium was waiting for something bad to happen, and then it did. So like I said, I'm not saying that as a negative to Yankee fans, because I thought they were great the previous 2 games. They were loud. It was really cool to play there. I mean, you're talking about playing a World Series at Yankee Stadium. There's almost nothing better than that, other than for me playing at Dodger Stadium. So it's just they were great, but yeah, it was weird feeling that energy that night.
It really, really ruined you too, because this is your first time ever playing at Yankee Stadium. You just went to the apex of all. You can't go back. Next time you guys go to Yankee Stadium, just be like, I'm gonna sit out this series, guys, because this place isn't like it was in the playoffs, or isn't like it was in the World Series.
For me, it can get better, because I would have liked to have gotten a hit. I didn't get a single hit in that World Series. It was terrible, but at least I can go back there and maybe get a hit next time.
Okay, so next time you get a hit, you can get the ball. That's actually what I was going to ask you. Was there a time during the World Series when you didn't have any hits, you were getting some walks, you guys were winning? Was there a time when you were like calling our executive producer, Mark Wiener, and being like, hey, do you think I could get on the show? Because last time I came on, I got on base 12 straight times in a row. Thanks. What time do you want me on the show? Or did that never come into your thought process?
No, I never came in. It's one of those things. I know I didn't get any hits, but I was playing good defense. I was still getting on base here and there, and we were winning. And that's I say it all the time. I don't care if I go 0 for 100 in the postseason, as long as we win every single game. It doesn't matter. The championship, the trophy, that's really all that matters. The personal stats have no impact on me at all. As long as I'm doing anything at all to help that team win, that's the most important thing to me. And so, being able to play defense for the guys, share some scouting reports, share some experience, and, have a couple walks here and there that helped out in key situations. That was the biggest thing to me.
Max, listen, Eric was our resident Yankee fan. Okay, him and Todd were hardcore rooting for the Yankees. But I can't explain this. You just have to go back and watch. I believed in you. Okay, I believed in you every day for the 2 games, 3, 4, and 5. I believe in you. That's all you need to know. Okay, I had your back the whole time. So no matter what these other guys say, just know that I was there. I was in your corner. But that leads me to my question. Do you start hitting right away? Are you like, man, I went over in the World Series. I got to grab a bat. Or you take some time off because, listen, nobody remembers. I promise you, not one Dodger fan remembers anything. The only thing they remember is the last out by Bueller, him standing there like, I'm the man, right? And you guys all celebrating. So will you take some time off? Because I always wonder this. I took a lot of time off. I've had this discussion. But some guys go in and hit right away. Will you take time off before you jump back in?
Well, that's the thing. As you said, the only thing I'm really remembering is lifting that trophy, having some drinks on the bus in downtown. That's really all I'm remembering right now. Yeah, maybe I didn't get a hit, but who cares? We won. Like I said, that's the most important thing. So I'm gonna take a couple weeks off. Let the body recover. It was obviously it's a long season, and you add on a whole extra month playing stressful postseason ball. You got to give your body a break, and we were all kind of going through little injuries here and there, and so everyone's got to give themselves a chance to rest up before you get back at it.
It's very lucrative to win the World Series, as we see by Kike Hernandez making a appearance at Canes. He's going to Raising Canes. Did Max Muncy get the opportunity to wear a Canes shirt and show up like a college athlete at Raising Canes?
No, I was not asked to do Raising Canes. I have a couple appearances already planned, so I've had other opportunities. Raising Canes is not one of them, and that's perfectly fine with me. It's as you said, it's a very lucrative thing to win the World Series. You get opportunities to do signings all over the place, and the price per autograph goes up quite a bit once you have a World Series champion in your name.
That's
Nice.
right. Hey, question for you about performance in the World Series now that it's done. What was your take on MLB not using their highest graded umpire? Someone brought up a good point on Ken Rosenthal's Fair Territory show. They said the other leagues bring in their best scorers, and we don't have all of the grades from MLB, but we do know if we cross-reference it with some of the independent auditor programs on umps that we don't have. I mean, it's clear. We don't have the best umps behind home plate. I know you're not going to trash individuals. I just want to ask it as a whole. Should MLB say, hey, here's the top 20 that we graded for calling balls and strikes so that we don't have 51 missed calls in the World Series?
Well, so my idea was this, and I don't know, all these umpires are great human beings, obviously you go back and forth when you're talking about them calling balls and strikes in the game. You get a little heated in the moment, but they're all great human beings. The thought that I had was, when it comes to the postseason, a lot of times they get picked based on tenure. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with how good their scores were. They were picked based on tenure. So I said, well, why don't, your top tenured guys get to call the World Series, but they get to be on the bases, left field line, right field line, first, second, third base, and then your top 6 scorers behind home plate for the season. So if you had one of the best scorers, you get to call one of the games behind home plate, but you don't get to be in the field. I don't know if they would go for something like that, but I don't see, I don't know how much they enjoy actually calling the game behind the plate. And so that's why I thought, hey, you get to be in the World Series, you get that little bonus, you get to call the bases, but if you earn the top 6 scores, you get to call behind home plate.
I like that.
Agreed. I agree. I agree with all. Listen, we want the best of the best. We had the best 2 teams in the American League and the National League playing each other. We want the best umpires. By the way, does your hat say Champy or does it say Champs?
I think it says Champs.
Just hard to see the S. It looks like kind of a Y. It says
Champs.
Champs.
It's a fancy
S.
I was like, Champy would be kind of cool because we're Champy. We're feeling Champy right now.
Champy.
All right, so I got 2 things before you go. You played unbelievable defense in the postseason. The Gold Gloves were announced recently. Are we going to get you on that list next year? Because your defense in the postseason, spot on.
Yeah, I took a huge step forward this year. I worked hard at it, but unfortunately, I'm playing a position that there's some really, really good defenders at, especially in the National League. Talking about Chapman, Arenado, Machado, McMahon. You're talking about some guys that can really pick it over there at third base. So That's a tough list to crack. Obviously, I'd be very honored to do that, but I got some more work I got to put in to get to that time.
Do you agree with the metrics that they use? Or is there something that should be used? Because that's one of the discussions we're going to actually have in one of the next segments when we talk about it. Because not everybody was too high on some of the metrics that were in the top 3 voting.
I hate the metrics because the metrics can be fooled. And this is something you've actually heard a lot of players talk about. If I'm positioned in a certain spot and I just dive for a ball, let's say I'm at third base, if I dive for a ball that's a routine ground ball at the shortstop and I don't throw him out, my score goes through the roof even though we didn't get the out. And so that's one of those things where it's like the metrics can be fooled in a lot of ways, and that's why I've always hated the metrics. That was something that I learned a lot about when I was at first base, because when we used to have the shift, anything hit to my right, I would let the second baseman field. And even though we were getting the out, I received negative metric points because it was a ball that I could have fielded even though I let the second baseman get.
That's dumb. That's
That is
dumb.
dumb.
All right, first, there's 2 things real quick, in quick answers. Did Shohei rage after the World Series? Because it looked like, was he driving hypnotic on the bus? Like, what was the, like, it looked like someone handed him a bottle of, like, hypnotic and he did.
I don't know what he was drinking, but he had a good time. I know that.
Okay.
He probably didn't have as good a time as a lot of us did, but he still had a good time.
Okay, that's all that matters. And then second of all, can you get Freddie Freeman on the show? I mean, he's Mr. Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, listen, I've asked him a bunch of times. I played with him for 2 years. So, I mean, can we just get him on one time? And we've had Mookie, we've had you, we've had Lux, had a bunch, Will Smith, all these Dodger guys on. We can't.
He's the one
Freddie.
guy
Why can't
who
we
gets
get
shunned.
Freddie? It's like, come on, Freddie.
You know what? I'll reach out to him and see what he's got. I know he's a busy guy, and especially now that it's the off season, he wants nothing to do with baseball. So, he wants to be with his kids and his family, and that's understandable. So, it's probably not going to happen, but I'll reach out to him.
Hey, listen, I remember I was there when we went to Dodger Stadium, and he was like 0 for 30, and he's like, I'm going to have Fred come work with me, right? And he goes somewhere to like the secret lab of the Freemans, and he comes out, we're facing Kershaw, and whack, Freddie. You're like, wait a minute, maybe I want to go talk with Fred for a minute here. What's going on?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah. Special guy for sure.
10 minutes, we'll do something for charity.
Yeah.
Let's do something cool. We'll try. We're just throwing it out there. He's like one of the only remaining stars of our game that hasn't touched FT. So just throwing it out there. We've all spoken to him many times in the past. But anyway, what's most important, Max, congratulations, man. Appreciate the extended time. This was awesome. A lot of people look forward to hearing you after all of that. Enjoy it now. Enjoy now the dad time, the fam time, and the championship time.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I've already been putting in my work as a dad, so I'm looking forward to it. I love it. I can't wait to spend more time with my kids now that the season's over, and it's going to be a blast. Rest up a little bit, and then for us, it's going to be a quick turnaround. We got to go to Japan here in like 2 weeks. It feels like.
You'll be okay. You guys will be just fine.
Yeah. But you earned it. Enjoy the downtime, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, everybody. Be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.